That's what kicks off the grief. It's now no longer out of, and you can't access it. It's gone. Whatever the case may be, it is not accessible to you. They are not accessible to you. He is not accessible to you. She is not accessible to you. They're gone. However permanent that may be. That's how dark it is before I cut on all my stuff. Okay. Hey there. Um, I wanted to talk a little bit about grief today. Um, there are stages of grief, 5, that I think many people are familiar with. But I think going through those stages well, as best as you can, is kind of what I'd like to dive into a little bit more. But I will go ahead and talk about those stages. So I think denial. Yeah, denial is the first stage where you don't want to believe. I think there's 7 sometimes, but I think shock is one that is sometimes mentioned as the first one, of course, because when you receive or hear about something that is going not the way you thought it was going to go, or I think you're just in shock initially. You'll hear oftentimes, if it's associated with someone going out of existence, depending on what way it occurs, someone might exclaim like a deep, gut-wrenching exclaim. So that shock and then that denial kind of ties in with that, where you just can't believe it. And sometimes regarding like someone that's gone out of existence, you could have very well seen them recently, the same day, shortly before. So it's difficult. It is difficult. So denial is what can happen. And then there's, with the shock or the denial, after that comes anger. We can be angry, and grief is not only associated with someone going out of existence. You can grieve something that you wanted that will not be. Have you ever seen people, like when they go through like a breakup? That's a form of grief that they're experiencing, because it's something that they wanted to go a certain way and it doesn't go that way, and so that's a loss. Grief is something that you no longer have. Mourning or losing something that is now no longer in your possession, or you no longer have access to it. That's what kicks off the grief. It's now no longer out of, and you can't access it. It's gone. Whatever the case may be, it is not accessible to you. They are not accessible to you. He is not accessible to you. She is not accessible to you. They're gone. However permanent that may be. For example, like with a relationship, it could be for a period of time. It could be forever. You guys are done. But when someone goes out of existence, that grief is can feel more severe, because your thought process might be that relationship ceases to exist. Some people find coping mechanisms with dealing with loss. But anyway, so that's the anger. And then with being angry about a loss, then the next phase is bargaining. The next stage is bargaining. Whatever you will, give up or however you can get it back. You're going to bargain. You're going to make adjustments to be able to get it back. You can bargain in different ways. Also, in this part, I think there's a possibility for blame, whether it's on others or yourself, but there's a possibility for blame because you may then say, okay, in order for me to get through this, well, in order for this to not have happened, what I should have done, and that I believe that's a form of bargaining too that you can do. You will try to negotiate. You might, try to do something in exchange for whatever has happened or what could happen. So maybe some people, will start to donate, try to become a better person, all in an attempt to change maybe what has already happened or what may happen again or, in the future at a later time. So the bargaining stage is one's attempt to make something go in their favor. That's the bargaining one. And then after you've bargained or attempted to bargain, and it's kind of setting in, then there's a sadness. And this stage is depression. So now depression has engulfed you. It's the not wanting to leave the house, maybe not wanting to do normal hygienic things, feeling like there's no hope, no purpose for you to live, for you to, how can you go on? Yeah, so that's the depression stage. It's very crippling, paralyzing. It can be very difficult, very difficult. And there's one, I think whether you know of it as 5 stages or 7. So this is where that 6th one would go. I believe it's testing. And so I think this one is more so to really see how are you with dealing with life after whatever that experience was. And the last stage in the 5 stages, as well as in this one, is the acceptance. And acceptance allows you now can have a feeling of hope. You can go forward. Maybe you have a new sense of direction, a new purpose, a new zeal. But you're able to go forward. Not that you are happy, but not that you're happy with what happened, but you are able to live your life. You're able to go forward and live your life. And that constant ache or that constant pain is either it's slightly less or significantly less. But I don't think it's ever all the way gone. Yeah, you tell me. Maybe you've grieved something before and it's just 100% gone. You don't If you saw a picture of that thing or that person, you don't feel anything. So, but I think for majority of people, it's never 100%, never 100% gone. It's always going to be a little something there. Always going to be a little something there. Yeah. So before we get into going through grief well, sorry guys, this car. All right. So before we get into going through it as best as we can, kind of going through those stages, I'm just curious. What's something that you've lost? You can put it in the comments. I'll read it. I'll reply. You can make it vague. Or you can name it. Yeah. We all handle and process grief differently. And grief can be, it can halt, it can stop you in your tracks. It definitely can. But I just wanted to come on and talk about dealing with grief. Did you find this helpful? I hope you did. Let me know down in the comments. I'm going to start putting stuff in the description boxes. So in the description box. But on this video and then past videos too, I want to get better with providing you with just resources and tools and freebies and worksheets and things like that. So yeah. Thanks for watching. And I'll see you in the next video.
Stay tuned for part 2.